Back in 2018, Noah Centineo became the internet's boyfriend. And the reason for that was because we were all in love with Peter Kavinsky. Exo Kitty Season 3 is coming out this week, so I thought I should revisit the movie that started it all, and is still one of my favorite rom-coms to this day, To All the Boys I've Loved Before. And by one of my favorite rom-coms, I'm literally just talking about that first one. I don't like talking about the second and the third movie, but obviously today I'm going to. It is not that the second movie and the third movie, P.S. I Still Love You and Always and Forever, are bad, but they are bad compared to the first one. And to all the boys obsessed fan during the times the movies were released, I'm still disappointed to this day. There are many reasons why, but today I want to specifically go over one, and that was the destruction of Peter's character starting with the second movie. The second movie introduces a love triangle. I have no particular feelings towards love triangles. If they are well done, they can be fun, but most of the time they're used as a go-to for romance to create conflict between the main couple. It seems like the easy way out, and because of that, it can seem very repetitive and boring. Unfortunately, the To All the Boys series falls into the latter. The love triangle created is just used as a tool to create problems, and in the process of that, they did a disservice to Peter's character. So today, I want to go over that. But first, let's get into what made us fall in love with Peter Kavinsky in the first place. In To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Lara Jean's love letters get sent out without her knowledge, and Peter is one of the recipients. The letter was written when she had a crush on him in 7th grade. The crush has since subsided, but they become entangled with each other again when LJ's current crush and her sister Margot's ex-boyfriend Josh also gets a letter. To prevent Josh from thinking that she currently has a crush on him, Peter shows up at the right time at the right place, and so starts their story. Peter to us is not only portrayed to us as like the perfect boyfriend, but just like the perfect guy. I mean not like perfect, but someone anyone in high school would want to date. Like a dream guy. They gave us someone who's different from the romantic male leads that we have seen in rom-coms and romance during this time. He was just a sweet, regular, healthy, normally flawed, non-toxic high school athlete. After Lara Jean sneak attacks Peter with the kiss, they meet coincidentally in a cafe where Peter is trying to reject Lara Jean because he misunderstood her intention. Before the scene, we have already gotten bits of him, but in this scene, it really frames him as a very funny, charming guy that we wish every high school boy would be like. No offense to any high school boys out there. I'm just talking about my experience. Anyways, while he's there to reject her, he still feels hurt when he finds out that he wasn't the only recipient of the love letters.
Wait, hold on. Stop. I am not the only guy that got a letter. Wow, you really think that you're special, and then you find out that she wrote love letters to 2 guys.
It's like the response you would want from a guy in this situation. He doesn't reciprocate her feelings, but he's still very appreciative of the letter in a sense, and doesn't make her feel any sense of embarrassment with it. Instead, he puts the letter as something that is flattering to receive. After that, Peter comes up with the plan for them to fake date. He was just broken up with by Jen, who is also Lara Jean's ex-best friend and the movie's mean girl, and he wants to make her jealous, so she gets back with him. While they are creating the contract to define the rules of the relationship, you can also see that Peter is someone you can have good banter with and someone who you can easily be friends with. Writing down the rules, Lara Jean tells Peter that she doesn't want him to kiss her because she doesn't want all her firsts to be fake, and Peter responds with,
Okay, but you kissed me first.
This is non-negotiable.
To be honest, it is Lara Jean's response that makes this funny, but you can already see their dynamic. It's fun, and you can see that they're going to get along great and be good friends first. And of course, at this point, we are already shipping them. You know what they say, a great relationship comes with a great friendship first. While they're starting to fake date, you can see that they actually do care about knowing each other. And you can see that when the scene continues and they want to introduce their favorite movies to each other.
Double feature. After we watched the Candles movie, we were watching Fight Club.
Fight Club. 16 Candles.
If we see a guy having a great relationship with someone, or more specifically in this case, the male lead having a great relationship and great banter with the main character, obviously, like the main character, we are going to fall in love with him. That is how you make a character that is appealing to its target audience. If we see why the main character falls in love with him, you got us all on board. And to get us on board more and more, you get the little things right. And that's exactly what the movie did. Not only was this a good rom-com, this was also culturally very important. I think this was the first time I've seen an East Asian lead in a rom-com like this. And being East Asian myself, it made a huge impact on me. The creators obviously knew the importance of that, and to complement it, they chose to create a male lead that is aware and openly accepting of the main character's culture. The first time that Peter drives LJ and her younger sister Kitty to school, he asks what drink Kitty has in hand and asks if he can have one. He drinks it and...
Oh, wow. That is really good.
You might say that this is a really small thing, but growing up in white-dominated places, I've gotten used to the question and the looks people would give me when I had any type of Asian food with me. And while in this scene it is just a yogurt drink and not a full-blown meal, it is still something unfamiliar to non-Asian people, and the fact that he was curious and willing to try it was so important to see. Along with this, when they finally do watch 16 Candles, Peter calls out the racist stereotype with the character Long Dong Duck.
I'm sorry, isn't this character Long Dong Duck like kind of racist?
Not kind of, extremely racist.
This is the perfect example of him being aware of things, and who doesn't love a king like that? I can't talk for everybody, but for someone who studied film and the portrayal of Asian characters in American media, someone who is aware of that will instantly make me fall in love with them. Also, I don't know many non-Asian people who would notice that, let alone call it out, and that tells you a lot about Peter. To top it all off, we have to remember that the writers chose to put in those scenes and to give us a romantic male lead that is interacting with East Asian culture. They could have easily cut those scenes and changed those lines, and we would probably assume that Peter was not racist or anything like that, but they wanted to explicitly show it, mention it, and go beyond it because it was important. Another thing that the movie did that I also loved was showing that Peter has non-toxic friends. Like I always say, the people surrounding a character always tells you a lot about the character. With toxic friends in romance, it is usually used as a way to say that the male romantic lead was like them, but is turning a new leaf now because of the girl. And we can see that in She's All That.
Hey now, check out the Bobos on Super Freak.
In A Walk to Remember.
Nice sweater. Thank you.
And After.
Cute dress.
Basically, I'm done with toxic friends. So I was really happy to see Peter's friends being healthy and getting along great with Laura Jean. Another thing that I'm tired of is the girl changing the guy narrative. And that is also something different with To All the Boys. With LJ and Peter, it's a two-way street. Peter is still flawed and gets called out by Laura Jean.
Well, I guess I just think that it's really weird that you still talk to your ex-girlfriend on the phone. It's not healthy.
And Laura Jean has her own struggles, but Peter becomes the one that kind of breaks her out of her shell a little bit.
Lego.
Maybe I just hold that.
With all this said, if you were a teenage girl in 2018 and you didn't fall in love with Peter Kavinsky, I really want to ask you about your willpower. Jokes aside though, you can see that with Peter, the creators really wanted to stray away from what we have seen with teen romance movies and create a character that is healthy and non-toxic. With this sweet, sweet Peter, they absolutely demolished him in the second movie. He definitely doesn't lean towards toxic, But one, you can tell that he leans towards being more of a plot device than a character, and two, he makes some very questionable choices. So let's get into it. Now, this is where the love triangle starts. Laura Jean gets a response in the mail from one of her love letters, and the guy is none other than John Ambrose McLaren. They reunite when they both start volunteering at the Bellevue retirement home. Laura Jean and Peter are officially together, but now with John Ambrose in the picture, she is slowly getting swayed and putting her relationship with Peter in question. Obviously, with love triangles, the point is to give us two viable options. Like, we have to question who's she going to end up with. Or at least it has to make you sway enough that team battles get established.
Are you Team Peter or Team John?
They were already aware that they gave us a perfect guy in the first movie, so how are they going to create another romantic lead that can actually compete? They chose the lazy route. I'm sorry to call it that, but they did. They destroyed Peter's character to make him look less desirable to us, and on the other hand, presented us John Ambrose in the perfect light. Literally, because the scenes he shares with Laura Jean, most of them are bright and have a golden color scheme to them. For the first half of the movie, it feels like nothing happens. Its only purpose seems like it was to show us that Peter was making mistake after mistake. After school, Laura Jean and Peter decide to meet up at a cafe. Laura Jean is there first, and she ends up waiting and waiting until Peter shows up about an hour late. As an isolated event, it's fine, but why would the creators show us something like that in the first 20 minutes of the film, and also not tie the fact that he was late to the plot of the movie? To start cracking our image of Peter. This scene's only purpose was to give us the first crack. And then about 10 minutes later, another crack. It's Valentine's Day, and at school, this is the first line that we hear from a random girl.
Get ready, Laura Jean. Last year, Peter sent one to Jen every period.
Now we have in our heads a cappella group and something that Laura Jean should expect and receive. And of course, Laura Jean thinks that too. But cut to the next scene, an a cappella group arrives in her class, and unfortunately, it's not for her and she gets disappointed. Peter at the end did not get her an a cappella group, but instead writes her a poem.
And stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of beautiful Laura Jean.
A poem that Laura Jean thinks he wrote himself, but is actually copied from Edgar Allan's famous poem Annabelle Lee. Now there are more doubts about Peter planted in LJ's and our minds, especially comparing them to the scenes that Laura Jean currently shares with John Ambrose.
Are we lame? But lame in a cool way.
Totally lame in a cool way.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
We get a cute childhood memory of them when they accidentally match Halloween costumes, and then we get a freaking piano scene and a cute confession.
You know how you call me John Ambrose?
Everyone calls you that.
I know. It's because of you.
Meanwhile, Peter is being out of character mean and starting a macho showdown with an innocent John Ambrose.
Hey, McLaren, do you remember when you had that stutter?
I get that he's jealous, but first movie Peter who calls out racist stereotypes would never. If their goal was to make us root for John Ambrose, they definitely achieved that, but at the cost of Peter. And then Peter fumbles really badly when in one scene he tells Laura Jean that it is not 100% yet that Jen took that pool video of them in the first movie, but then a couple scenes later he accidentally reveals to her that he knows that Jen took that video.
I took that video. I told her that if she ever hurt you again, then we were done.
So you knew?
And then he can't confidently reassure Laura Jean that there's nothing going on between him and Jen. I mean, there is actually nothing going on between them. And there's a good reason why Peter is with Jen. Jen's parents are currently going through a divorce and he's helping. But there's no reason for him to be that cozy with his ex. And also being a hypocrite and getting jealous of John Ambrose when he's the one that invited Jen to this treehouse gathering when Laura Jean specifically did not want to invite her.
You can't do that, Lara Jean. Not when you have a boyfriend. Doesn't look right.
Oh, right. So like inviting your ex-girlfriend to your current girlfriend's party.
Basically, in this movie, Peter is just reduced to being the bad boyfriend. Nothing more, nothing less. It's like he got demoted to a two-dimensional character whose only role was the bad boyfriend of Laura Jean. He's kind of just used as a juxtaposition to John Ambrose, and the juxtaposition is actually portrayed literally. Earlier, I mentioned that the scenes that Laura Jean shares with John are bright and have a golden color scheme to them. Well, in contrast, the scenes that Peter shares with Laura Jean, those scenes have a more blue, duller tone to them. It's there to contrast them visually, but to be honest, I am not sure if it was the intention to make these Peter scenes look so lifeless and dull. Nonetheless, how am I going to feel any happiness with them if the colors are zapped out of the scene? Of course, Laura Jean picks Peter at the end. But with how Peter was portrayed in this movie, it's very hard to root for. Also, it is not that surprising that she chose Peter. And if their intention to hype up John Ambrose was to pull the unexpected at the end, it didn't work. Instead, it made me question why Laura Jean picked Peter. And that's when you know you went too far trying to show Peter in a bad light. Well, lucky for us, it seems like the second movie was just a blip. Starting with the third movie, Peter returns to his first movie self, and also John Ambrose disappears. The movie starts with the Song Covey family in Korea. Returning back, Peter is there to welcome Laura Jean, and we get Peter from the first movie again, especially with his headband and Korean face mask on. Additionally, he gets excited about character socks, and Laura Jean and Peter have the spunk back.
They were kind of hard to find in your size.
Truce, or else you don't get your last present.
There's actually not much else to say. We get Peter and Laura Jean moments, again, that were lacking in the second movie. And their relationship faces the biggest challenge a high school relationship can go through: college and whether long distance will work or not. Of course, it does for them, as we see that they're still well and together when Peter visits Kitty in Korea. To be honest, I completely understand their intention with the second movie. The first one was to show how Peter and LJ got together. The second movie was to introduce an internal conflict that puts their relationship into question. And the third movie explores an external conflict that challenges their relationship. However, with the second movie, I think they still could have achieved what they wanted to without destroying Peter's character and also dragging the Jen problem from the first movie. The problem could have still been Jen in a way, but instead of showing that Peter is making irreversible mistakes that made me question why Laura Jean got back with him, you could have Peter hiding something from Laura Jean the whole movie. That something is the fact that he's helping Jen with the divorce of her parents. And instead of giving it a couple lines, they could have expanded that and made it the whole problem of the movie. Like with this cafe scene, it would have been such a good opportunity for them to tie Peter being late to the fact that he was helping Jen with an emergency or something. Obviously, Peter can't reveal that fact to Laura Jean and starts keeping stuff from her, which in turn makes Laura Jean question their relationship and the trust they have between each other. While that is happening, Laura Jean gets reacquainted with John Ambrose, and with him, it's easy, he's open and always honest with her, and boom, the love triangle starts. This is your second movie. Of course, the second movie is what it is, and to this day, I am still Team John. Let me know what team you were on or are still on, and if Peter was also a disappointment to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.